Hey, before the video starts, I just wanted to apologize for the audio on the rest of the video. It's pretty terrible. I wasn't paying attention, didn't have my headphones to monitor the audio, and really kind of screwed it up. So hopefully you can look past that and enjoy this look into the Xenotar 135mm lens, and hope you learned something and maybe you enjoy the other mistakes that I made as well. So let's go.
All right, so today we are in DC and we're gonna be doing some large format film photography. And in fact, we're gonna be reviewing the Xenotar 135mm lens f3.5. We're gonna be looking at things like sharpness, the quality of the bokeh, and then also the size of the image circle and how good it is at handling movements. Rise and fall, tilt and shift, and all these kind of things. We're gonna be actually shooting the Department of Energy right here, as it's a beautiful subject and has lots of straight lines. So stick with me today and we'll see how it goes. All right, so first thing we have to do is set up the camera, which is an Intrepid 4x5. It packs down really nicely into this bag. Big tripod, dark cloth, lens, film holders, and then the camera itself. So one important thing that I like about this tripod is it has a leveling bowl right here. And so that makes it actually very easy to set and level the 4x5 camera. So I have an Arca Swiss plate at the top that will screw down real nice. And then I can rotate this around to wherever I want to. And we can go ahead and assemble the camera. So we're going to set the back to 90 degrees. Put the front standard on to, we'll do the second hole for the 135mm lens. We want to make sure that we are perfectly level with the rear standard. So the way I do that is using the bubble levels on top and then this self-leveling, or not self-leveling, but leveling bowl right here. So that right there is level. Okay, now we're good to go. Next is to set the level on the front standard, which that looks good, and then my rise looks good about there. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and put the lens on. Today we're gonna be shooting with the Xenotar 135, and super easy to slide the lens in and set it in place with the Linhof style board that the Intrepid 4x5 takes. So we're gonna shoot toward this building, and I think I actually want to induce a little bit of rise in order to get more of the top of the building than just straight on. Right now it's a very symmetrical shot looking straight on, and I don't want as much of the bottom of the frame. I want a little bit more. So we're going to actually push the rise up and see how much we can actually get out of it. Okay, so I just set up my composition, and in order to get exactly the framing that I wanted to, I had to introduce a bunch of rise. And it looks like it took it all. So I don't see any kind of vignetting at the top of the frame, which tells me that this has a very large image circle, and this is totally fine to use for quite a bit of movements, up and down, left and right. So let's go ahead and take this shot and see how it looks. Okay, so now it's time to do the large format dance, which includes checking the critical focus, setting the aperture correctly for the lens and the shutter speed based off a meter reading we're about to do, closing down the lens from the preview mode to like the actual picture taking mode, sliding in the film holder, taking out the dark side, taking the exposure, sliding the dark side back in, and finishing up the exposure. So we're about to do that in just a second. I just checked critical focus, and I think I have everything from front to back, top to bottom, in focus really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my dark cloth. I'm going to stop the lens down because it was just in the open preview mode. I'm gonna cock it again, and now let's determine the aperture. So I think I wanna shoot around f16 to make sure everything is in total focus. So I'm going to set that here on the lens to f16. Okay, and then let's go ahead and see what our shutter speed is going to be at f/16. So with my Psychonic light meter, I have it set to ISO 200 because we're shooting HP5 overexposed by a stop. I like to do that with my black and white and color films. And let's go ahead and take a light meter reading, and we're going to set our f-stop to f/16, and I'm coming up with 1/8 of a second. So let's go ahead and set that on the camera and see how we go. I like to try it once or twice to make sure that it's functioning properly, and it is. So let's go ahead and insert my film holder into the top here. I use the white as the unexposed color. Slide that into the top. I'm gonna check it one more time. Make sure the lens is stopped down. And now I'm going to remove the dark slide. And 3, 2, 1. There we go. Flip it around, black out. And there we go. So we just took the first exposure. Let's see how that looks.
So that's disappointing. What I think happened is I loaded up my film holders, and with a box of 25, there's always going to be one sheet that's left over to fill up the film holders. So you load up the one sheet in there in the dark changing bag as usual, and then there's going to be one side of the holder that doesn't have anything in it. So I thought I remembered which side that was, because in the bag you can kind of like remove the dark side of the one that you didn't actually fill up. So I thought I brought it out of the bag and then flipped over the one side that didn't have any film in it, so that I would know that, hey, this one's already exposed, so that there'd be a difference, right? White on one side, black on the other side. But I didn't do that. I lost track of which one was which, or I forgot my convention, and so what I ended up doing was exposing the side that didn't have any film at all, and then leaving a completely unexposed sheet in the side that I thought was already exposed. So a little bit of a mix-up there. So long story short, you want to make sure that you keep your conventions the same always. So for me, this is not exposed, and then black is exposed. Always keep your conventions the same. Or if you only have one sheet in your film holder, just expose both sides so that doesn't happen to you. So you live, you learn. That's large format, and yeah, so we'll keep going.
All right, so now we're gonna work on a portrait shot to kind of utilize the incredible depth of field of this lens. It really is spectacular. You really have some incredible 3D separation that large format is known for. This lens is fantastic at that. So we're gonna kind of test it out, see what it looks like. So I'm gonna set it wide open, 3.5, and let's get a meter reading out here. It's basically all overcast, and my light meter is saying 1/100th of a second. My buddy Nate, who's actually been videoing this the whole time, set him up for a portrait and see what it looks like. There you go. One. Okay.
All right, so this is why I bought this lens. This kind of shot, this kind of legs up, you know, portrait environmental. You get some of the background, but you still get that 3D pop from the lens. This is it. Composition could use some work. That's on me. That's not the lens. But I absolutely love how the subject pops. Yeah, it makes me so happy. I love this lens. All right, let's look at some more.
Okay, so now we're going to do another portrait to kind of see how the depth of field and fall off is. A little bit closer to Nate, the subject here. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a meter reading here. There's going to be a lot less light than we had before. Pop that underneath here, and we are looking at we're looking at a 20th, which I'm not all that happy about. Let's call it a 25th, and you're just gonna have to stay super still. Super still. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really, really good shot. Like that. Okay, and go ahead and stay still for me. Yep, good, good, good. Hold it, hold it. White side out. Okay, I'm gonna give you the 3, 2, 1. Boom, got it.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. I was really excited about this one. This composition was actually really cool. I like that straight on shot. His facial expression was really good, but you know, it is what it is. I think I somehow managed to fog up the film and moving it from the box to the film holders. And what's really weird is actually it happened on a lot of the film from this box. So either I did something differently or there was a light leak in the bag. I'm not really sure. But if you look at the unexposed sheet from earlier, it has this fogging too. So on to the next ones.
So now we've set up for another shot, and this is really to test the sharpness of the lens. So we're gonna take 2 shots, one wide open at 3.5, and then another one stopped down to maybe f8, because we don't have a whole lot of light right now. It's rainy and kind of overcast. I think f8 is gonna kind of be the sweet spot for shutter speed, and then also stopping down for sharpness. So we're gonna take 2 shots of this right here, and let's see how this lens performs wide open versus stop down. All right, so I actually like this little holder here. So it holds about 6 or 7 film holders, and it kind of zips up nicely and just kind of keeps everything nice and tidy. Found it on Amazon. I'm actually not sure what it's actually for, but I know that it fits these holders really nicely. Let's see what our 2 exposure readings are. We can take a reflective metering here, and I'm gonna do it of the ceiling because that's kind of the darkest area here. So I'm gonna pop that off the ceiling and I'm gonna set it for 3.5. I'm coming out with a 50th of a second. So let's go ahead and go with that. I'll do one of the highlights and see. I'm getting F11, so that is 1/500th. So that's a couple stops. 3 stops, 4 stops. That's totally fine for HP5. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do a 50th of a second. ISO 200, so I'm already overexposing by a stop. And let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna put that into my lens here. 50th of a second. I am wide open there at 3.5. Let's do a test shot. And that's looking good. Slide our film in. First shot is 3.5 50th. Okay, and flip it over. And now let's go ahead and get our reading for the f8 shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and cock it, and remember to go ahead and set this to f8 before I forget. Okay, so we'll test that again and cock it. I like to do that 100 times just to be sure. So let's go ahead and take that same reading and off the ceiling again. And we're going to f8, and that's a 10th of a second. We're looking for the unexposed side here, sliding it in, dark side out, 3, 2, 1. Okay, flip it over, black side out, back in, and there we go. So those are our 2 shots, wide open, stop down a little bit. Let's see how the sharpness actually compares.
All right, so let's check these images out side by side. At first, they really don't look all that different. I wouldn't really expect them to. But as we zoom in a little bit, you'll see a difference in sharpness between the two. Now, a lot of that is just the depth of field. The difference between wide open and stop down, obviously, there's going to be a lot more in focus, and then, sharpness from that. But if we look at some of the areas where the wide open shot is actually focused on, if we compare the two, it's actually very similar in sharpness in those in focus areas, if that makes sense. So yeah, this lens performs phenomenally stop down, but the wide open sharpness, it looks good. It looks good, and obviously we can see that from the other shots with the portraits. But yeah, this is a fantastic lens. I'm really impressed with it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you think of this Xenotar 135mm lens and whether or not you're thinking of picking one up for yourself. I'm planning on doing a couple more of these large format lens reviews, so yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
All right, we're gonna wait for this terrible timing.